beautiful people, welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou. My name is Lou. You might have forgotten since you haven't seen me for a few days, but I was tired. Manchester United were doing my head in. It was one of those weekends and I thought, you know what, I'm going to save myself for Monday evening. We always have a bit of crack on Monday. I'm going to wait and chat to them then. And yes, Rob, guess, I'm on time because on my clock, when I hit go live, it said 7:30. So, magic moment, Lou is live on time. All over the place. I tell you what, I'm more organised than Manchester United. So, I am obviously going to be talking about the calamity that is my club. I am going to be speaking about Manchester United. I do not expect to be speaking about them for a very long time because I feel like all I have done is think and eat and drink and sleep and talk about Manchester United for the last few days. And honestly, they're going to make my brain combust. So, I am going to speak about them. I'm going to speak about the manager. I'm going to speak about Ollie. I'm going to speak about Carrick. And then we're going to move on because I've had enough. I'm going to talk about them and then I'm going to talk about some other stuff. And at the moment, I am enjoying speaking about everybody else's club much more than I am enjoying speaking about my own. So after that, we are going to talk our way through all of the FA Cup fixtures that have taken place. Obviously, Liverpool isn't done till tonight, and I believe Salford play tomorrow. So we'll talk through the ones that have happened. Obviously, we'll stop at some of them for key moments, for talking points, for things we want to delve into. Some of the things I will be looking at is the fact that Wrexham put Forest out, Sunderland put Everton out, Macclesfield, John Rooney, Wayne Rooney's brother, put Palace out, the holders of the cup. Massive question marks over Glasner. Wolves beat Shrewsbury 6-1. And I'm not having any of this, oh, it's only Shrewsbury, because Wolves are the worst Premier League team in the history of the Premier League so far, have done absolutely dreadful this season, have only just started scoring and winning and getting points on the board. So the fact that they managed to score 6 goals against any team is magical, and we are going to talk about it. We are going to have to mention the City Exeter 10-1 thing. We're going to have to mention it. But we are going to have to talk about it, unfortunately. We are also going to talk about Newcastle and Bournemouth because, oh my God, I thought that was the game that was just never going to end. There was so many goals. I thought the penalties were going to go on forever, but it obviously didn't. Newcastle are through. We will look at At Spurs. We'll take a little look at Frank. I will eventually get to speak to you all about the Romero comments that I wanted to speak about the other day, but me and Ash were going for nearly 3 hours, so we had to just, cut off. So I'm going to bring those in today. And what I have written down here is, in my notebook, I have written F United. So that's how I feel about my team at the moment. I see Mama Flossie's in the house. Thank you so much for joining, folks. It's nice to have you all here. I know it's a Monday. I know there is a game going on. I know it's just a bit of one of those, but it's nice to see you. It's nice to chat to you. It's nice to get it all out. Talk it through. We have to talk it through. And it's even nicer because I'm here with a fresh cup of tea. You can't see it, but this room is so cold. There is actually steam coming out of this mug. How is everybody feeling on this fine Monday morning? I am not feeling fantastic because I was in the hospital today with them poking and prodding at me. Then I was at work and now I'm here to talk about Manchester United. So I am having a very, very Monday kind of Monday. So how is everyone else's Monday going? A bit better than mine, I hope. I see Bored Dave Boy is in the house. Bored Dave Boy, you need to change that name because honestly, you are never ever bored. So unless that name is sarcastic, we need to get you and your name changed. Nice to see Jay in the house. Also, evening, folks. Please do remember to smash a like as you're joining because I know when I'm coming in and I'm ready to get stuck into the chat, I always forget to hit the like button, even on videos that I do actually really like. And I know some people don't like to be reminded, but when you forget everything like me, you have to be reminded. And I'm sure there's other people in the world out there like me. So maybe there's not other people in the world like me. Now that I've said that out loud, I might be wrong. There may not be other people in the world like me. I might be one of a kind and not in the good way. So I have saved some things to talk about. Where are we? Because I've saved loads of things to talk about. So I just want to when I see things now, I don't look at social media the same way anymore. When I'm on X and I'm like, before I would have just scrolled and leave a like if I see something, then just keep scrolling. I had never in my life used the bookmark function before. I actually didn't know how it worked or how to find them afterwards until I started doing this. But now when I'm scrolling and I see things, I'm like, oh, just bookmark that. Oh, I'm going to talk about that on the channel. Oh, I'm going to talk about that with everybody. And so I end up saving like 600 million things, and we're just never going to have time to talk about them all. It's not going to be a super duper long one. I know I say that and it's nearly always a lie, but it's not going to be a super duper long one this evening. So don't worry, guys. We will be out of here definitely at the very, very latest 9 o'clock. I would say earlier, but we'll say 9 o'clock just to keep myself safe. But let's start with the sad news that it doesn't look like it's going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer taking over the Manchester United job. And let me, now that I am a whiz kid and I know how to do, not bookmarks, and what do you call it when you put in a timestamp? So, that is not an M. Manchester United. Now, these lads, if you are coming looking for these afterwards, these are like general sort of indicators of when I started to talk about things. But as you know, I like to ramble. I jump from subject to subject, but I'm going to try and put those little kind of tabs in as I'm going from now on while I'm live. To let people know if they're joining us later when I started talking about it, because they might not want to hear my sad story about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They might just want to hear about Thomas Frank or Sunderland, or if you're in Ash and Flossie's case, just Newcastle, not Sunderland. Although I do appreciate their dedication to the cause. So, yes. You all saw my video, my very happy, very excited, very delighted video when I thought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to be made the interim caretaker, whatever the formal name is, manager of Manchester United after we decided to sack Ruben Amorim. Lads, it doesn't look like it's happening. It doesn't look like it's happening. And I saw the news this morning. I saw all the tweets. I sort of ignored them because I was like, well, Ollie last week was almost a done deal and now it's sort of not. So maybe that's what's happening with Carrick. It's like a done deal and then it's not, and it's all going to swing back around again. And actually, I'm going to get my wish. Unfortunately, the rumours have not only persisted that it's going to be Carrick, but they have gathered speed. They have they're just about here we go nearly. And it seems like everybody is saying that it is like it's basically decided it's going to be Michael Carrick, and they're just waiting to announce it, basically. Now, I am not expressing myself very well because I'm very disappointed. I can't lie. I like Carrick. I'm sure he's very nice. I'm so disappointed because I was so excited for Ollie. I was so excited, and you know what it is? There's so many people that are very angry at the moment, with our club, with our board, with our owners, with our players, with the way we run things. There's just an awful lot of very, very angry Manchester United fans out there at the minute. And I completely understand why people are angry. But I'm just not. It's not that I'm not angry. I am. I just don't have a lot of energy. I'm like exhausted. They have like sapped all of the energy out of me. They've deflated me. So I'm angry on the inside, but I don't have actually the energy to express that anger the way some people are at the moment. And you know what, if you're feeling it, get it out, better out than in and all that. But at the moment, I'm just so like over it. The only thing that gave me a little bit of joy was like, oh my God, are we getting Ollie back? And I was so excited. I don't know, I hid it really well, so I'm not sure, maybe none of you's noticed. But I'm feeling back to being deflated again. Now that I know it's going to be Carrick, I'm like, it's not anything personal to Carrick, but now I'm back to like, I just don't care because I don't think he's going to make any difference. We knew that there was the potential that Ollie could make a difference because he'd done it before. He was actually the only one that came in really and made a big difference. Like people were talking about, new manager bounce and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, we didn't get a bounce under Amorim. We didn't get a bounce under Ten Hag. We haven't had a bounce under Fletcher. We didn't particularly have a bounce under Root. So is it a case of new manager bounce and what Ollie did was just luck and it was just a bounce because he was a new manager? Or was it the case that actually what he did was really good and really right and we could have just done that again? We had the best possible or the best ever interim manager available to us. And then we just, he's the best interim manager in the history of the Premier League. And he was open to joining us. He was ready to come back. And we were just like, no, we're going to try this guy that's never done it before. But okay. So this dude here on X, I'm going to show you, I have to share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at, or you won't know what I'm talking about. So this chap here, Wee Manveer, he put it very well. So I'm going to just read out his wee tweet because it's more or less how I feel about the whole situation. And so the tweet that he's quote tweeted says, Michael Carrick is set to become MUFC's caretaker manager for the rest of the season. Further talks are to take place to finalise details. And that came from Sully Talks. Now, one Manveer has said, and I actually feel exactly like this. So I'm going to say what he said because he explains it very well. Of course, I want Carrick to do well. It goes without saying why. The issue is I have no faith in the fact that he can or will do so, and I now don't think we end up qualifying for the Champions League. The feeling you get with Ollie will never be matched by the Carricks, Fletchers, McKennas, etc. They're all assistants to the main guy. You quite literally have the option of going with the best interim manager the Premier League has ever seen, someone who has been under the spotlight before, someone who knows what it takes to rally the players, fans, and overall club. No one else has that. This is all without going into the impact he'd have on the pitch too, which would have been tremendous. Maybe one day, Gaffer. And that is essentially how I feel about Ollie. I'm very sad he's not coming back. I think he's already done it. I think when I spoke originally, I know there was a lot of just me being very happy, but I spoke about the potential impact he could have had on the likes of a Sesko, who hasn't hit the ground running, who's struggling a bit to get off the mark, who, has started to hit a little bit of form recently, but then it was missing again. And I just think what Ollie could have done for and with him to score goals would have been unbelievable. And so obviously I will support Carrick. Obviously I hope he is a rip-roaring success. Obviously I hope to be eating my words in a few months. But as it stands, I'm not excited. I very clearly do not have the buzz that I had when it was announced that Ollie was going to be coming. But what I will just say, a lot of the criticism I saw about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was that he was too soft. He didn't really know what he was doing. He was a yes man. Some of the stuff I've seen on other major, massive YouTube channels who are just spreading complete nonsense because it's their own opinion rather than based in any sort of fact, and people swallow it without actually thinking for themselves. But apparently, Ollie was just a yes man. He was going to do whatever he was told. He actually wasn't coming back for the love of Manchester United. He was coming back for some selfish, self-serving reason. And he was just going to come in and say yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, to Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox. And he was the worst thing ever. And he's just super soft and he can't think for himself. Now, I want to go to this next tweet because I find it quite interesting. So the people that were against Ollie, not everybody, but some of the main characters that were out there publicly against Ollie were because he was a yes man and he was too soft. I'm sure we've all seen that all over social media. But Ben Jacobs has said today, Michael Carrick is hoping to bring Jonathan Woodgate in as part of his coaching staff. Woodgate worked alongside Carrick at Middlesbrough. Carrick's appointment is expected to be confirmed in the next 24 hours. Darren Fletcher and Johnny Evans could also form part of his backroom team. So 2 people that are already at Manchester United and someone that Middlesbrough wanted rid of when he worked there. Now, if that's not a yes man and working with what you're given, then what is? So supposedly, and apparently I didn't bookmark the tweet, but supposedly, I saw this by a journalist today, Ollie wanted to bring in his own backroom staff. He expected a budget to work with, and basically he was demanding more. Carrick was more realistic about what could be provided by the club and was willing to work with what he was given. So the exact criticism that was being levelled at Ollie, the exact reason that people listed for not wanting to bring Ollie in is exactly what Carrick is doing. So I just wanted to put that out there. This criticism was levelled at Ollie. It was incorrect. The reason they're going with Carrick over Ollie is because Ollie wanted more and Carrick just said yes to whatever he was given. Now, as I said, I hope he comes in and he's fantastic. But let's be clear about what we're getting here. A yes man. The thing that people levelled at Ollie. Now, that's all I want to say on that. It's not been officially announced. It's clearly in the works. It's clearly on the way. If they're talking about what coaches he's bringing in, it's basically happening. But I just wanted to put it out there. All of the people crying about Ollie, sorry, not all of the people crying about Ollie, all of the people that said they didn't want Ollie because he's a yes man, well, you've just got a different yes man. So best of luck. Now, as I said, I hope he does really well. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he's just spectacular. But the kind of excitement that I had the other day is gone. I've absolutely no excitement. I don't believe we're going to qualify for the Champions League spots. I would actually be shocked even if we get European football at all now again. I think we might have a repeat of last season. We're already out of the Carabao Cup. We're already out of the FA Cup. We weren't in Europe to begin with. And we're dreadful in the league. Our form is actually getting worse and worse and worse. And we have just refused to take back the guy who took us on a record-breaking unbeaten run, because what would you be doing bringing him back? But look, what can I do? I'm just a silly little girl on YouTube. I can't tell anyone what to do. But look. Oh, Dave Boy. And look, this is good. This is good, Dave Boy. Make me feel better. So, Dave Boy is saying Ollie is very popular with the fan base. A lot of fans didn't want him walking into this chocolate ice cream show. Now, that's a nice way of looking at it, because it was definitely people that didn't want him because they didn't think he was good enough. However, I'm going to go with what Bored Dave Boy is telling me, because it makes me feel better. People love him so much, they didn't want him to go through this again. Now, I have to say, I don't know how I would have felt seeing him leave again. My heart might have broken. So at least we don't have to see him get absolutely hammered week in, week out by all of the pundits and the social media people, even though I'm a social media person, that dislike him, that hammer him for no reason. So at least we don't have to see him just be completely disrespected over and over and over and over and over again, because let's face it, that's exactly what would have happened in this situation. But put your hands up if you're happy that the United section is over. Now I can talk about everybody else's club. So this is going to be good. Makes me feel better. I can pretend that my club isn't such a mess, and I can talk about other people's clubs being a mess. Woohoo! Because that's all I've got to hold on to at the moment. Now, let's take a look at the FA Cup fixtures so far. Now, you should be able to see. Guys, can you see that, or do you want me to zoom in on it a little bit more? Or is that okay? So you let me know. My eyesight's dreadful, so you tell me if you can see that or not. Okay, nobody's complaining, so say nothing or forever hold your peace. So that's where we're at. Now, oh, Flossie says it's a little bit small. Flossie, is that a bit better, or do you want me to go one bigger? Hello, Gab. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Is that okay? Or I can go bigger another one. Let me see. I'm trying to see what you guys can see, because obviously my screen is much bigger, so it looks much bigger on my screen. Okay, so there. That should be a little bit better now. I've gone up 2 notches. Hello, Danny. Nice to see you. Everybody's joining us. Everybody's joining the gang. Do remember to hit your like on the way in, lads. Is that a wee bit better? I think I can make it. Oh, no. Is that the right button? Okay, I think that's as big as I can make it without getting stuff off the screen. So hopefully that's a wee bit better for everybody. But yes, so obviously I'm not going to go into all of these in depth. We'll read them out and then we'll stop at the ones we want to stop at. So shout if you see something you want to talk about. No problem. Oh, thanks, Fossey, because honestly, like I said, my screen's so different than yours. It looks fine to me and then I can't tell. So Milton Keynes, Oxford United drew, and then Milton Keynes went through on penalties. Port Vale won 1-0 in full time. Wigan Athletic won 1-0 in full time. Now, Nottingham Forest went out to Wrexham on penalties. So, what did we think of that? I cannot imagine their owner is thoroughly impressed. And I do have to wonder just how much pressure Sean Dyche is under. Because let's be honest, their owner is not shy about sacking people. And while Wrexham has been a lovely story with, what's the actor's name? Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds and his wee friend that bought the club, and they've had, is this their third successive promotion in 3 seasons? Basically, they've been smashing it. But even with that, you would expect Nottingham Forest to have enough to put Wrexham away. So I do just think, yeah, he's going to be disappointed. He's not going to be very pleased. Hello, Alanma. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Leicester beat Cheltenham 2-0. And then Sunderland. So let me click. Oh, we're very big here. Okay. Right. Do you know what we're going to do? Because I'm using this one because it's as Ash suggested, because I do take his feedback on board because he's very helpful. But I'm so used to looking at SofaScore, I don't always quite understand what it's telling me. So Everton Sunderland did finish 1-1 at the full time, and then Sunderland went through 3-0 on penalties, which means Everton didn't score a single penalty, which is actually really quite terrible. That's awful. How do you do that? So the goalkeeper saved all 3 penalties from Everton. So obviously they didn't need to take any more penalties because after 3, it's just impossible for them to even get back into it. But also, it's just another shout out to Sunderland. Sorry, guys, to the people that don't love Sunderland. But I mean, they're absolutely smashing it this season. The people that says it wasn't going to be sustainable, that we're going to go out of everything. I mean, they're certainly keeping it up. And you can, like, their keeper got, as far as I know, one of the highest scores in the match. I don't think it's going to tell me on here, but let me show you this tab. So this is on SofaScore. Royfs, I believe is how you say his name, 9.1. Obviously, saving the penalties was a big part of that, but he did really, really well. Everton out. But yeah, so that one was good. Let me see. Back to the stuff. Look at me. Look, I'm like a pro. Tab, 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 tab. What tab? Anthony is in the house. Nice to see you, everybody. All the gang, everybody's here. It's nice to see you all. Thank you all for joining me. Sorry, kind of you. Now, this one. Macclesfield, Crystal Palace. Well then. Cup holders, Crystal Palace, out to Macclesfield and in full time. So normal time, not anything extra, not penalties, not a bit of luck. They just genuinely were the better team and won the match. Absolutely crazy. I don't think anybody predicted that. Anybody at all. And they were actually 2-0 up. So that one for Crystal Palace is actually a consolation goal. Let's see. Board Dave boy. Rob predicted Sunderland winning. Think he's got a soft spot for them. Yeah, well, don't tell Flossie and Ash. He'll be in the bin. Let me see. What did we think of that, folks? Macclesfield, Crystal Palace. Did anybody think, genuinely, did anybody think before the match that Macclesfield even had a chance of winning? Because as far as I know, that set a new record because there's 177 places between those two teams, and there's never been a bigger gap between two teams where the lower team has won. So I just think, do you know what it is? It's exactly what the cup is all about. It's exactly why they exist. It's exactly why people enjoy them. Dave boy, yes, it's funny Twisted isn't here. Strange that he hasn't turned up now. Oh, sorry, 117, not 177. I put in an extra 7. Thank you, Anthony. This is what happens when I do a stream solo and I don't have Ash to fact check for me, because I thought it was 177. 117 is still wild. It's definitely the record, though. That much I do know. And Anthony saying, Macclesfield definitely deserved the win. Great game for them. Better than Palace for at least 80 minutes. And do you know what? I think that's nice, because don't get me wrong, I'm sure they would have taken the win anyway. I'm sure they would have, they would have been delighted to win if it went in off somebody's backside, own goals, they wouldn't have cared. But to win when you know that you've been the better team is it gives you an extra boost for your next match, because you know you didn't get in by the skin of your teeth. You didn't get in by luck. You got in because you were better. And if you're better than the cup holder, who else can you be better than? Do you know? So the world is their oyster at the moment. And like, they're all part-time players. You know, they've all got jobs. Some of them, I saw one of them's a wee PE teacher. I saw his video going back to school today. Like, one of them used to be, he worked on the motorway. They've all got jobs where they've to go and earn a living. Like, this is their hobby. And they've come in and beat Crystal Palace, a Premier League team. I can't even imagine the difference in value in these teams. Bordeaux by saying Wharton was the worst player on the pitch, and he is one we have been linked to. I mean, let's face it, all we do, we're linked central at the minute. It's not as if we're buying anyone. We can't even pick a bloody manager. But yes, oh hello, and we have our United Standards in the house. It has been a minute. Nice to see you. Welcome back. Hope you have been good. Gav is saying, must be nice being the better team. Forgot what that feels like with our tune playing in the background. I'll tell you what, Gav, I have also forgotten what that feels like. Anthony, is this real? Their owner is taking them all to Ibiza for congratulations. Do you know what? That's it done right. That is absolutely what football is all about. Absolutely love that. Do you know, it's just a reminder. Do you know, with all the money and the corruption and the big business and, you know, all the things, like when I'm talking about my own team and the owners and the boards and everything else, isn't it just lovely to see, like, just real people, like they're real people with real jobs and their hobby is this and they love it. It's just, I love it. I love it so much. And it doesn't matter that Crystal Palace is the opposition. I love it for Macclesfield and I love it for football. You know, it's so important that these things keep happening. So I'm so delighted. Next, another story that I am so delighted about. Wolverhampton Wanderers 6-1. 6. Imagine somebody told you a few weeks ago Wolverhampton Wanderers was going to score 6 goals against any team. Nobody would have believed you. But me and Ash were here. Me and Ash were telling you, it's coming, it's turning around, they're getting better, it's going to happen. We told you, watch out for Wolves, they're going to start getting better. Do you remember the video I did right before they started turning it around? And Rob Edwards was under fire. They were talking about, is there going to be a new another new coach? Are they going to go on to their, fourth coach of the season? There was so many question marks. And then obviously they had the game against Arsenal, the game against Liverpool. They might not have won, but they were playing bloody well. They drew against us, and then they've just started coming on in leaps and bounds. Wolves are warming up for their next game. Now you've made me curious. Who is Wolves' next game? Let me see. You've put the cat amongst the pigeons. You've distracted me. Who wrote that? Bored Dave Boy. Of course it was Bored Dave Boy. Distraction. Oh, I see. So Newcastle play Wolves next. I understand now. I'll tell you what. Bored Dave Boy is a brave man, because he has no bother getting stuck in there. Mama Flossie's in with the spanner and Dave Boy has no problem. Catch you later, Gav. I don't know if I'll be here. I might. I mean, let's not lie. But yeah. So Wolf, I'm just delighted. I'm delighted for them. I'm delighted for Rob Edwards. I'm delighted. Just God, do you know what? I just felt so sorry for them. Like, they were trying their best. They were playing well. Like, they were really hanging in with some of the big boys. I'm not counting us there. I mean, like Liverpool and Arsenal. And it was just just the last little bit, the last little step, and it seems like they've finally got it clicking. So I understand they only played Shrewsbury Town, but first of all, you can only play the team that's in front of you. Second of all, 6 goals against any team is very, very good. I mean, if we got 6 goals against any team, I'd be over the moon. We couldn't even beat Grimsby, so I'm certainly not going to be like, oh, it's only against Shrewsbury. So I think well done to them, and I think they probably will. They've really started to build a bit of momentum. So it's something Ash and I will need to speak about when he's on with me next. Is he nervous about facing Wolverhampton Wanderers? Now, let's go next. I have to click the right tab. So obviously then, Burton Albion beat Bournemouth 5-0. Burnley, who are in the relegation zone, beat Millwall 5-1. Southampton beat Doncaster 3-2. Fulham beat Middlesbrough 3-1. Ipswich beat Blackpool 2-1. I have to talk about it, lads. I do have to talk about it, but only very briefly, and then we're going to talk about Newcastle and Bournemouth. Manchester City beat Exeter City 10-1. Now, the reason that I do want to talk about this slightly is because I was one of the people at the start of the season saying, what would they do if Erling Haaland wasn't scoring? Well, what they would do is everybody else on the pitch would score. So Semenyo got one, Reinders got one, Rodri got one, Alain got one, who I'd never heard of. Rico Lewis was the only player for Manchester City to score 2 goals. So they scored 10, and the only player to score 2 was Rico Lewis. Other than that, so they had 9 different goal scorers, and none of them were Haaland. Now, obviously, there's a gulf in class, but 10 goals is enormous. And for me, it just shows, okay, well, if Haaland's not scoring, this isn't the first time they're able to spread the goals out amongst the other players, which is disappointing. Now, for those of us that liked Semenyo when he was at Bournemouth, thought he was a very good player, and I know we have some Arsenal people in the house, so I'm sure they're really feeling it because he's an Arsenal fan and would have went there if he's went for him. But honestly, like, look at this. 9.5. Sorry, I'm telling you to look at it. You probably can't even see it, can you? That's probably a wee bit better for you. 9.5. Antoine Semenyo. Debut, first match, a goal and an assist. Now, as I said, I understand it's against Exeter, but you can't ask for a much better start to your career. He was also awarded the player of the match. I assume this is just SofaScore's player of the match. But I mean, and God love them, there was 3 extra minutes added on. I'm sure at this point they were just like, would you ever just blow the whistle? It's 9-0. And can I just, at 9-0, why would you feel the need to add on any minutes? What is the point? What is the point? Because what happens in this 3 additional minutes is someone gets seriously injured, and then what? Completely pointless, unnecessary, and oh my God, why would you make poor Exeter's night any worse? Now, in fairness, they did use that 3 minutes to score a goal, so it wasn't 9-0 anymore. So maybe they were happy for it in the end. But I mean, you're really just being like, please just blow the bloody whistle. Please just end this absolute horror. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say on it. I just wanted to acknowledge it. First of all, it was Semenyo's first match. Also, the fact that I have been asking what would they do if Haaland wasn't scoring, and that's what they would do if Haaland wasn't scoring, essentially. So that is me more than told, isn't it? I just want to go to some of your comments because I'm rambling away on here and I'm not even just looking at what any of you are saying, which is just incredibly rude of me. I did see United Standards. I'm just going to answer United Standards questions. Don't worry, everybody. I'm not going to go into it. I did talk about this at the very start of the show. United Standards. Is Carrick getting us top 4? What do I reckon? What I reckon is absolutely no chance on this earth. I hope to be proven wrong, but I think not a hope at all. So, sorry, that's not the joy you're looking for. I hope he does Do I believe he will? Absolutely not. Sorry. Gav is saying we're back with Crystal Palace here. Yeah, with Crystal Palace. Getting beaten by someone who delivers the papers. Hold on. We got beat with the centre half who's on pip. Gav, you're going to get me cancelled. Anthony is saying, Carrick to win his first match as United boss. I'm begging you. Well, I also hope he wins his first match. I hope he wins all his matches as United boss. But, I mean, let's not be crazy. What else are we saying? Everybody's saying hi. Everybody joining. And yeah, so Anthony is saying about City, that was a goal every 9 minutes, which is just an incredible return. Absolutely incredible return. And Guess is saying the referee was cruel. That is cruel. Like, that is absolutely cruel. Why would you do that to anybody? Uncalled for. Absolutely uncalled for. I mean, the ref couldn't have been enjoying himself either. Although, if he was just at one end of the pitch, maybe he was. So, let me see. Yes, I wanted to make sure we're on the right tab because I've been clicking all the different ones. I wanted to make sure we're back together. Now, lads, this was a good one. Newcastle United, Bournemouth. Full time 3-3. And then on the penalties, let me get this up for you so you can see what we're looking at. On the penalties, 7-6. I thought it was never going to end this game. Now, it was very good. Very, very good. I'm obviously not a Newcastle fan. My heart was in my mouth. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, it was a really, 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 as a neutral, even though obviously I want Newcastle to win for Flossie and Ash, it was such a good game. Really, really, really good game. It was really good. I forgot what it is to see like such good football. It's Anthony, you're killing me. So Harvey Barnes brings them to 1-0 up. Look, and you've got loads of injuries. I was talking about injuries before there. Like, there's an injury. Evan Nielsen ended up coming on because of an injury. Lewis Hall ends up coming on for an injury to Livramento. But from a situation of being 1-0 up, Newcastle actually ended up 2-1 down. Then we had a heap of changes, some yellow cards, loads of yellow cards. Then we had the penalty. We're back to 2-2. More changes. Harvey Barnes 3-2, and then in 120 plus 2, 3-3. So madness. So we'd full time 2-2, and then extra time 3-3, and then penalties. And this was a madness. I have never seen so many missed and saved penalties in all of my life. Nobody wanted to take advantage. So, Voltamada, I didn't like his walk-up. I did not like his walk-up. I was not surprised he missed. He didn't look good going up for it. And you're thinking, Evan Nielsen knows where the goal is. He's clearly going to score. He's going to put Newcastle on the back foot. You're thinking, 100%, Bournemouth are going to go ahead here. No. No, they're not, because it's saved. And then Bruno Guimaraes goes up going, right, we've got it back level. No need to panic. We're still 1-1. We're going next. We can go back ahead again. Except no, because the goalkeeper saves it. Cook comes up and he's going, right, somebody needs to start scoring these penalties. Otherwise, we're not going to look like professional footballers anymore. And he does. So it goes 2-2. And then 2-1, sorry. And then Tonali makes it 2-2. And then Jimenez comes up. Goalkeeper saves it again. So the goalkeeper saved 2 out of 3 there, which is a pretty good run because, to be fair, the other keeper only saved 1. It was Voltamada missed his. But that leaves us still at 2-2. So we've taken the same amount of penalties and the score is even. So you're going, right, okay, we're back essentially on level terms. Joe Linton comes up, 3-2. Sinisi, 3-3. We're all scoring now. Everybody's scoring. We're all going. And you're going, oh my God, like, at what point is this going to end? And then, I can't pronounce this chap's name. And I can't remember how the commentator pronounced it. Diakite? That sounds about right. But he only looked really young. God love him. Look, obviously Newcastle aren't going to feel sorry for him. They're not really going to care. But where is he? He's 25. He's not that young. So that makes me feel a wee bit less sorry for him. But you do always feel sorry for the last one, for the one that loses it. Now, to be fair, I was going to say the one that misses, but there was a heap of misses. So it's not all... He's the one, because there was a run of goal. He's the one that's going to feel it the most because he was the first one to blink. But if any of these had gone in, so if Evan Nielsen or Jimenez had scored, you're not in that situation because you've already won way back here. So I do always feel for the one that ends up being kind of the face of the loss. But obviously we are delighted for our Ashen Flossie. They are through to the next round. As I understand, they're going to be playing Aston Villa, which is definitely not going to be an easy game. And it's one that I hope I will be able to watch. Seeing as my team is out of all the competitions, I'll be able to watch everybody else's teams now because it won't matter. We're not going to be on at the same time. I see Ultra is in the house. Ultra, nice to see you. Do you know what it is? Most of you as well. Do you know Bruce Forsyth? Every time I say nice to see you all the time, and every time in my head I say nice to see you, and then inside my head I repeat it, nice to see you, nice, the way Brucey used to say. So if you ever see me just nodding to myself when I say nice to see you, it's because I'm listening to Bruce Forsyth in my head, because I'm normal, obviously. Hi, Tyrell, nice to see you. Thank you for joining me, friend. Nice to see everybody. All the friends are in the house. Folks, please do remember to smash a like on your way in. It lets people know that you're having a good time, that this is the channel to be on, and to... Anthony. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying, because Anthony has lost his goddamn mind. Sorry, wee friend, but if you are a United fan, you are a United fan. You most certainly do not go on loan to one of your biggest rivals. You also don't cheer on one of your biggest rivals against Wolves. So I think we should be revoking Terry's United fan card and just leave him away over there on a permanent at Arsenal. I'll stay where I am, crying. There's no making up for that, Anthony. You're in the naughty step. You're in the bold corner. You're right. But let's keep going. So Brentford 2-0 beat Sheffield Wednesday. Done and dusted. Nice and handy. Stoke beat Coventry 1-0. Bristol beat Watford 5-1, which is a pretty big scoreline. Birmingham beat Cambridge 3-2. Grimsby, the mighty Grimsby, marching on there 3-2 against Weston-super-Mare. Aston Villa, as I mentioned, are already through because they're going to be playing Newcastle in the next round. And they beat Tottenham Hotspur. Now we're going to pause on this one for a moment. As I hear it, pause is something the cool kids say when they've like dropped the mic moment. But no, I'm actually just saying pause. So Aston Villa beat Tottenham Hotspur. Now, things are not all rosy at Spurs at all by any means. And do you remember the other day, I wanted to have a wee chat with you about comments from Christian Romero. So what we're going to do is bring that up now, once I am done scrolling. Here we are. So share this tab. Now again, you'll have to let me know if you can actually see that, because now this, I'm reading this from Sam C Reports, but I think Christian Romero put it up on his own personal Instagram. But let's go through this now. This was posted on the 8th of January, so 4 days ago. It was prior to the match, but it actually links to what we're going to talk about anyway. So Cristiano Romero, who is the captain, called out the Tottenham board, and he wrote, "Apologies to all fans of you who follow us everywhere, who are always there and will continue to be. We are responsible. There's no doubt about that. But we will keep facing up to it and try to turn the situation around for ourselves and for the club. At times like this, it should be other people coming out to speak. But they don't, as has been happening for several years now. They only show up when things are going well to tell a few lies. We'll stay here, working, sticking together, and giving our all to turn things around, especially at times like this. Keeping quiet, working harder, and moving forward all together is part of football. All together, it will be easier." Now, if I hadn't told you Cristiano Romero said that, and I just read it out and said this is a quote from a football player who said it, you very, very easily could be talking about Manchester United. If you told me that a Manchester United player like maybe Harry Maguire said that, I would have full on believed you. So first of all, I find it very interesting how similar the situation seems to be at a number of other clubs, one of them being Spurs. Second of all, I find it very interesting that an active player who currently wears the captain's armband is coming out making statements like this. Now, to me, this is leadership. This is leadership. Come out and tell people the truth. Well, it's not easy. He's definitely getting a fine. He's definitely getting in trouble for that. But it's serious, serious leadership. And I think it should be applauded. On the pitch, I think he's a lunatic. And I've said this before, some of the matches I've watched, he definitely should be getting more yellows. I can't understand why he doesn't. On the pitch, he's a lunatic. But this here, I have to say, serious, serious respect. Now, obviously, I am not 100% up to date and in the know about the situation at Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not a Spurs fan. I only know what you see from the outside looking in. However, if this is in any way accurate, fair play to him, because that's a big risk, him coming out and saying that. He will definitely be punished for that. And I just think it shows real leadership. And we've been crying for that at our club, for active managers and players to come out and say stuff like that. And they haven't. So I just thought it was really important to draw attention to it. Obviously, they then go on to, like us, be put out of the FA Cup. So those quotes were before this match. So those quotes came out. Then this match happened. And now the next thing is Frank under pressure, obviously. Now, I think he was under pressure anyway, but it was a little bit mixed with the fans. Now, though, this is from the January the 10th, so only 2 days later. An insider source, and this is Matchday Central, an insider source claims Thomas Frank will be sacked due to his performances at Tottenham. The board are very furious and want a change now. This was 2 days ago, and as I understand, he has not been sacked. So they're very furious, but they're not very fast. Now, this is James Davies, I don't know, as ex-senior journalist, ex-Mirror, and Tottenham devotee. So he's a journalist who's a Spurs fan, okay? So he says, on the same day, January the 10th, senior Tottenham figures were seen making multiple phone calls following the loss to Aston Villa. Internal chaos is unfolding within the hierarchy as frustration grows. The board is now split down the middle over Thomas Frank remaining as manager. Major conversations are taking place behind the scenes. Now, given that Cristiano Romero is calling out the board and saying, like, none of the board are coming out and speaking when it's rough. None of the board are coming out and, fronting up, essentially. Is this a case of throwing a manager under the bus to save themselves, like what we do at United? Or is it a case that Thomas Frank just absolutely isn't doing a good enough job? And is it? Where is it? I saw here. I knew I had another one. Now, we're taking this one with a pinch of salt. It's the 11th of January, but it does seem to just be based off the other ones. The reason I've included it is this figure here. So some Spurs players believe Thomas Frank is waiting to be sacked. If Spurs were to sack Thomas Frank, they would likely have to pay a severance package in the region of £20 million. This figure is based on reports regarding the remainder of his contract. Now, as I said, we'll take that with a wee pinch of salt, but I thought just the number here was interesting and that I would bring it in. What do we think, people? Is it a case that Frank isn't doing a good job? Is it a case that the board isn't doing a good job? Are the players underperforming? Is it just a group effort? Everybody's terrible at the moment. What do you all think? Because obviously, I would liken it, based on what Romero's saying, very much to the situation at Manchester United, where it can be multiple things. The board can be underperforming, but so can the manager and so can the players. It can be everybody all at the same time. But let me know what you think while I go through some of your wee comments. Well, Anthony, straight in. Thomas the Frank engine choo-choo. Next stop, the job centre. It's nothing to do with the London rivalries, his comments. He's completely unbiased, our Anthony, as you can see. Let's see. Jay is saying, yeah, that definitely sounds like a Man U quote, doesn't it? It's just crazy, the parallels. Anthony is saying, breaking news, Spurs are close to signing Conor Gallagher, Sky Sports reports. I did see some of that earlier. And that they were close to signing him, that they were looking at him, that I think obviously we were interested, but we've stopped doing anything because we're distracting everyone with our manager debacle. And Aston Villa were one of the other clubs that were interested. Supposedly he's now available for 25 million. They've dropped the price that they wanted for him from the summer. So let me see if I can now find anything like super up to date. We don't want to post. We really don't want to post. So Conor Gallagher. Some people have been searching him. So let's see. Latest. There we go. Conor Gallagher at Tottenham. 40 million. Okay, this is from Fabrizio. Let's go to Fabrizio. We should just go to the source. That's not the one. There we go. 33 minutes ago from Fabrizio Romano. Look at us, high tech, unbelievable, on the spot. How many times have we been live and news has dropped? The amount of times I've had stuff in the chat where it's like, this is on X, this is breaking news, and we just whack it up there. Like, this is what happens when you don't have a plan. You can just do whatever you want because you don't have to be like, oh, I'm not sticking to the plan. Oh, I'm missing some of the topics. Well, when you don't have a plan, everything's the topic. So, Conor Gallagher to Tottenham, here we go. The player has just informed Atleti about his decision to join Tottenham Hotspur FC. Spurs set to pay a €40 million fee, permanent deal to beat Villa. Aston Villa agreed a deal with Atletico today, but leave the race as the player didn't give the final green light. So the price was dropped to, I thought it said 25, maybe it said 35. But Spurs basically have outbid Villa, and the player prefers Spurs to Villa, which is a bit mental, but okay. But yeah, so here we go. No, well, it's oh yeah, here we go. I was like, have I gone prematurely? What else is he saying? Yeah, there we go. So there he was an hour ago. He was talking about the hijacking. I knew I'd seen Villa. I wasn't mental. And obviously Ash and Flossie very happy about this. Sven Botman signs a new deal at Newcastle, valid until June 2030. All sealed today. And what I will say, he was excellent in the match he was played against Bournemouth. He was defending on the line, and then he was up at the other end of the pitch attacking. He was very, very, very good. Because I remember thinking he was the one that stood out to me. He's down at this end of the pitch and then he's up at this end of the pitch. Very, very impactful player on a very difficult match. So I am sure that the Newcastle fans are delighted with that. And obviously he's not one of their 30-odd-year-old players because he's going to be able to play for the next 4 years at least. So I'm sure they are pleased with that. But yes, Conor Gallagher to Spurs. Here we go. João Cancelo to Barcelona. Excellent news, very exciting, obviously. Our Ash is in. Our Ash is in. You have done so many comments. I had to scroll back up. So, let me see. Oh, now, do you know what? This is a good point. Thank you. Thank you, Anthony and Marv. Marv is saying it's a disgrace for United. Anthony's saying it's not looking good losing a transfer target to Spurs. To be fair, United didn't lose a transfer target to Spurs. Villa did. Because United aren't in for any transfer targets because we're too busy faffing about with an interim manager. How many times? So when this very first came out, I said we're going to faff about, we're going to take up as much of the transfer window as possible, talking about the manager so we don't talk about actual signings. The minute that Amram was sacked, all we've spoken about is the manager. We have had radio silence on transfers for Manchester United since the minute Amram was sacked. So we didn't lose anything because we weren't in. We've lost our minds maybe, but we didn't lose out on the transfer. We're not in for anyone. Let me see. Spurs follow us. We spent 10 to 15 million by sacking. Yeah, we did. Marv is saying 40 million. They got ripped off. I read he was going for a lot cheaper. Yeah, I saw 25 million somewhere. Now, that could have been pound, which would bring it up a wee bit. But even still, that's mad money because I definitely read it like not that long ago that it was much cheaper than that. Anthony is saying 40 million Spurs are having their pants pulled down. Ash is saying hi. Ash is saying the only issue with him is he's too injury prone. Is that Botman or is that Conor Gallagher? Because I'm talking about everybody right now. Oh lads, I was supposed to be doing the bloody whatchamacallums, the little doohickeys with the timestamps, and I forgot. Ups. So someone's going to come in, see the timestamps. It's going to say intro, Manchester United, and then nothing because I have completely forgot. I'll have to come back and do those later. Because I got so bad into the conversation. They're just so interesting. I just forgot what I was doing. Botman. So Botman is injury prone. That's a pity because he was very good for us. He was like, for me, he was the player that really stood out in that match as like, fighting for everything, like doing all the jobs. I thought he was very, very good for us. He really, really did stand out. And obviously, as you know, I never really watched Newcastle before we were friends. So they're very new to me this season. I've started watching them, obviously, when my team's not playing, which is going to be a lot less. And so I am, okay, right. So there's a few things. So Flossie is right. Say his name and he will appear. Marv, yes, I did. I got it all out of my system at the very start of the show. So I talked about United, I talked about Ollie, I talked about Carrick, I talked about my sadness and my lack of joy, my complete deflation for a few minutes at the start of the show. So definitely when it's over, go back and check that out. Board Dave Boy is saying to be careful of the Geordie Mafia. And to be fair, he's normally the number one target. He does paint that target on his own back though. But yeah, so Anthony is telling me that 25 million euro would be 34 million pounds. Is that, or are you saying the 40 million? I can't convert it the wrong way. Honestly. So is 34 million pounds 40 million euros? Anthony, you come back to me. You can be the money man. So Flossie is telling us that Barnsley have scored a crazy goal and I missed it. So let's go. 43 minutes in, Liverpool 2, Barnsley 1, having scored an absolutely crazy goal. So let me Let me see what we're doing. Well, isn't that good news? Isn't that nice? So 40 million euro is about 34 million pounds. So 34, see, I'm used to euros, so 34 million pounds is still quite a lot. I was sure I saw it for 25 million. I can't remember what currency it was though. But yes, so go on the Barnsley. Marv is saying a midfield of Gallagher and Neves would have gotten us top 4 or at least 5th. Do you know what it is? I don't know if there's any saving us at all. Unless Cavani comes back in his prime, I don't think there's any saving us. I loved Cavani. Flossie is saying that there's nothing to this Newcastle mafia. It's not true. Everyone's nice today, boy. Marv is willing it into existence. Here we go. Barnsley, upset number 2 off the FA Cup incoming. To be fair, there have been a few. What else? There was only one more. No, I think that was all of it. Guys, that is record time that we have talked about that in. I was like, what else have we got to talk about? But that's what I wanted to do. Go through the matches, kind of look at look at the matches that have happened so far, take out the talking points to different things, finally get into those Romero quotes. Anthony is saying we could have prime Cristiano Ronaldo back and we are still buggerooed this season. I completely agree, Anthony. I think Ollie was the only man that could have saved us, and now we're buggered. But what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to set you all free. Thank you so much for joining me for this hour. Behind the dugouts, just in time. I have talked about it right at the start of the video, but no, I'm not happy with Carrick. I'm actually quite disappointed. I'm a bit deflated. I hope he does very well, but no, I think happy would be a very strong word. I'm just hoping. Ash is not happy. He's a wee bit raged. Between the 25th of January and the 21st of February, we being Newcastle, play Villa at home, PSG away, Liverpool away, Man City away, Brentford at home, Spurs away, Villa away, and Man City away. And Ash's response to that, someone is having a joke. And what I would like to do is say, Ash, thank you for cheering me up at the end of this stream, because I needed it. Behind the dugouts is giving you all his support. But as Flossie says, thank you all for joining, folks. Please do make sure you hit the like button. If you didn't see the Manchester United section at the start of the video, please do head back and give it a watch. Leave your comments down below. And I will be speaking to you all very soon. I'm going to have loads more time to speak to you because my team is brutal and is out of all the competitions that they can get kicked out of. And so I'm going to have loads more free time. But have a nice evening.